This is Eric and Mark, your playground rules experts, looking to help you successfully navigate your way through the playground. Welcome to another Seesaw scenario. We are confident that it will resonate and hope you chime in, like, and subscribe. The writer writes, as I spoke with a few soccer referees, they pointed out an interesting dynamic where the playground rules phenomenon instantly resonated. They pointed out that it is normally the reaction to the foul by the victim that gets noticed and sanctioned by the referee. Many times, depending on the executive's ability to sell it, even the crowd will react more to the follow-up foul than to the initial foul. For example, a player slide tackles an opponent who falls, gets up, and tries to get the ball back with minimal contact, at which point they are sanctioned with a foul against. In life, at work, and even at home, this holds true. The aggressor or playground executive, which may be somebody different each time, acts in an aggressive or passive-aggressive way, and when the victim reacts in any way, they are treated like they are the problem. In this analogy, the foul is pinned on them. What's at play here? And how would I break that cycle? Mark, how say you?
So, Eric, there's a lot of ways to answer this question. I think that one of the main ways is, or the first one that comes to mind for me, is self-restraint. The playground will test you in every way possible, whether you're being bullied, overlooked for promotion, whether somebody is trying to manipulate you, give you a guilt trip, trying to gain leverage on you in a personal relationship. The playground, just like life, is a very, very challenging place in a lot of cases. And it's very difficult to exist in that realm and successfully face these challenges, especially when we feel there's too many of them coming at us at once. So sometimes what ends up happening is that we end up losing our cool. The initial infraction sometimes is impulsive, but a lot of times it's actually intended, whether it's in sport or in life, to go ahead and antagonize somebody, to get them off of their game, to distract them, to gain leverage over them. By us going ahead and responding, retaliating as such, even though we feel like it's justified in that situation, it's like, well, they did it, so I did it back to them, right? Well, the retaliation, to your point, is what becomes the focal point. The retaliation is what turns heads. The retaliation is what makes people ooh and ah and that type of thing. The retaliation is what the cameras catch. Case in point, I had a manager who continually egged me on in a professional scenario, constantly cut me down in front of other people, insulted me, even went as far as to call me names and that kind of thing. Well, one day I just got tired of it and I lashed out at him. I openly lashed out at him. Now, what ended up happening is that we ended up going to a higher manager who we both reported to, who kind of mediated the dispute, and the higher level manager went ahead and took his side on pretty much everything, Oh, he's just trying to help you out. He's just trying to challenge you. He's just trying to put you in a position to succeed. He's just trying to teach you, that kind of thing. Every single thing that could have possibly happened there, where that manager could have tried to see it objectively, tried to see my standpoint, he sided with him on everything. He sided on with the violating manager on pretty much everything that I could think of. This is years ago, but that's what my recollection is. Anyway, so what ends up happening is that my retaliation is what really drew the response. When he was going ahead and giving me a hard time and lowering my morale, making me not want to come to work and that kind of thing, he was just doing his job, trying to make me a better professional, according to, what I was told. When I was lashing out, I was being unprofessional or ungrateful, uncooperative, and that kind of thing. So what ends up happening is that what I should have done is I should have probably gone ahead and spoken up about it sooner. And that's not my style. But at the same time, I should have let somebody know that I was being harassed by this manager, that I was being given a hard time, that it was, it was upsetting to me and that kind of thing. I should have vocalized that. So, because by the time that he was initiating, or he was the one who initiated the meeting with the other manager or whatever. His side had already been heard, and I had no leverage in this situation. So I would say in that situation, as far as coping, how do we deal with something like that? There's no absolute perfect answer. Move on from that team, move on from that company, if possible. If you have to stay there, then for whatever reason, clinging to a job or whatever it may be, like many of us do, then make sure that your concerns are heard. Don't just sit there and continually take a beating every day at work, even if that's a metaphorical beating, I mean. Do not do that, because what ends up happening is, just like with a bully on the playground, we think, oh, we're going to ignore them and it's just going to go away by itself. You know what? Like we've talked about in our previous shows, sometimes the bullying goes away, and then sometimes it continues because that person will continue to have exposure to you. You're always going to be on the radar. So I think that, or on a regular basis anyway, if not always. So I really, really think that it's very important to exercise self-restraint, and it's important to be the first one who takes action. Because if you're the one who's in the retaliation role or in the response role, the burden of proof as to why that whole situation occurred falls on you, and you're going to have a really hard time selling people on why you acted the way that you did. So it's very, very important that you get in front of the situation and make sure that the right people are aware of it. And if that's not an option for whatever reason, then it's just best at that point to move on, because a subject matter expert turned manager who's been favored heavily is likely going to continue that behavior until they have a disincentive to do so. And unfortunately, the chances of that continuing are pretty high. That's my take on it.